Thank you guys so much for hanging in there with us. We do want to get right to Michael. Michael, thanks for hanging on through that commercial break. Do you have any questions tonight?
Hello?
Michael?
Oh, yeah. Hey, good evening to you guys.
Good evening.
First of all, I'd like to give my condolences and sympathy to your board, the panelists there over their loss of their loved ones. My personal story, I lost my mother and father both within a year.
Wow.
And it seemed like after that happened, it was just a succession of uncles, cousins, you name it, close neighbors that just start leaving out of this world not too long after that. And it's easy for the caller to say, your faith and everything like that, but I question a lot of my faith. I was born Baptist, raised in the church, but there were times that, I wanted to curse God. Like, why would you do this to people who live their life accordingly and as the Bible requires us to do and try to do, treat people right and all that kind of stuff. But dying is part of life, and it happens, but that doesn't make it easier whether you have faith or no faith. I believe it does help to have faith and have a higher power, and I've gotten through it, but the holidays are the worst, and I would tell anybody that if you can get through the holidays, the birthdays, especially Thanksgiving and Christmas especially, you're probably going to be all right. But it's an ongoing process, and like the gentleman who lost his son there, that's on your panel, it's not going to be the same. So if you're grasping for that same type of happiness, it's probably not going to be achievable, but you can't have a new type of happiness. And I would wish that blessing and prayer to all those who suffered a loved one in the past or recently, to keep that in mind. And I wish everybody a very Merry Christmas. Good night to you all.
Thank you.
Same to you. Thank you.
My condolences to you.
Yeah. And I just and thank you for confirming what I kind of wanted to say, which was you can be grieving and brokenhearted and joyful and appreciative for what you have at the same time. They're not exclusive. They're not. They don't cancel each other out. And I think sometimes people try to push us through this pain arc, like something bad happened and you're quickly healed or better. And for a lot of us, that's just not how. It's not possible. It's not like a change your thinking and turn it off. People want to see people they love feeling better, so they try to cheer you up or tell you, God loves you. And you believe that, and that's awesome. I believe that too, but not to the point of shaming someone for also having sadness feelings and being afraid then to even let that be seen. That stuffing it in causes more trouble. That's why it's nice to find a group or friends or somebody who's willing to look at you and acknowledge, here's what's happening. I know it's hard, and I can just stare you in the face and allow you to be sad right now. And then a few minutes later, we can be, laughing about something silly that just happened. They can be at the same time, essentially.
Exactly.
As a care manager, I try to fix things. I try to fix things. If there's something today I can fix, I'm going to fix it today. But, the losses that we've gone through, that's nothing that we can fix. I mean, I can't give your brother back. I can't give your son back to you. This is something that we help support each other, the hope and healing. And with Daniel's loss, I go now not so much for myself, but to help those especially newly bereaved in their journey.
Yeah.
And we are, Compassionate Friends is a peer-to-peer support group.
Yes. I just wanted to call her and mention the multiple losses. They do affect you. No matter what superhuman person we are or how high or low our faith is, multiple losses affect us. You look at life and you feel very vulnerable. You realize that you're frail at times, and it gives you a new look at things, and it doesn't mean that that look won't change further down the line, but currently what's happening in your life, you have to address it. You can't suppress it. You can't gloss over it. I mean, you can do that for a while, but it's going to catch up with you. And so you do find, as we tend to say, a new normal. Right. And that new normal looks very different, and you will have relationships that you find beneficial in your life, and they increase, and some that it is time, it's hit its limit, and you may have to lay those relationships down. But there are always beautiful people out there with some encouraging words that may not know your story where you are. So we have to be, I guess, recognize that we never know who we may lift up with a smile or an encouraging word. We never know that place that they may be walking in, and the most difficult place of their life. And so we do want to, just have a kind word at some point to express. We should dress ourselves with some type of kindness to share with someone else.
What are some ways, on that note, to care for yourself when you're in a situation like that?
Well, I'm a running enthusiast, so I tend to work out. It helps early on to keep the grief. It's always front and center, but to keep it at bay and to try and exhaust the grief, just to kind of relax my mind. I enjoy working out. I enjoy writing, and just doing a lot of volunteer work. So that helped me a great deal.
I'm also a fitness instructor, so I guess I enjoy working out too. Yeah. And definitely, even though I found myself, especially early in these past couple of years, not really wanting to go, which was very unlike me, but that's the new place I was in for a while. But I, did eventually realize I feel better after I do this, even though it's weird because I'm having to make myself do it when it used to be something I loved. But yeah, things like that, and just realizing when you need time by yourself, which I typically was a super social person, but there have been times where I retreated a lot more and needed it. But and I go to a therapist, a personal therapist as well, who really helped me deal with that too, because your mind's going a million ways, and you want to be doing the right thing for everybody in your life, and sometimes you're not putting yourself first when you're trying to just get better from something that's been devastating.
In the early years, I kept a journal and some manuscript. People say, "Oh, you ought to write a book." I told about it, and getting a book published is very difficult this day and age. But near the last few years, kickboxing, and of course, proper nutrition, exercise is always plenty of rest. And there's times you do want to be alone. Times you want to be with other people. So.
Because loss affects your relationships. I remember a chaplain asking me how was my marriage, and I just kind of looked at him baffled. I'm here to talk about my son. What are you doing? And he asked me that 3 times. And I realized he was going somewhere with it. But you tend to kind of put things on the side, whether it's your health, some of your relationships, whether it's work. It's hard to focus your energy on one thing. You're just trying to handle this big thing in your life right now that seems to be all-consuming. So you do need to have, again, people around you, our support systems, whatever that may look like, your church community, your neighborhood that you live in, a support group. You need to have people around you. Anytime we're going through challenge in life, it's easy to kind of want to pull back, and that's probably the most dangerous thing to do, to stay alone.
Some people, some parents, when they lose a child, go through brain fog. I didn't experience that with my son, but I did with my wife. And there were times when you would just be carrying on the conversation, you just lose your train of thought.
Louise is on line 1. Louise, you're up if you have a question or a comment or a statement. Louise, are you there?
Yes, I'm here, hon.
You're on the air if you have anything to say.
I just want to, I lost my mom in July Yes, I lost my mom in July, and it's been hard. I've been taking care of her since I was 16. And then just hearing a lot of people passing away in our little town and leaving kids behind, and it's just hard. I've done the same thing. I've isolated myself. It's been hard this year, and they have 8 kids and 11 grandbabies, and I just can't keep focused on them. I still focus on the hurting.
Have you reached out to anyone, Louise? Have you, because that's a whole nother sidebar when you've taken care of someone and all of a sudden the things that you were doing your day-to-day has changed. Not only has the loss impacted your life, but just your regular responsibilities and the attentiveness to that other individual has changed, and that affects you. Have you had an opportunity, or if you found a resource, if you reached out to anyone, or?
No, not yet. I just trying to focus on Christmas, and I'm just trying to be strong for everybody.
Wow.
And I work with residents, and it's hard taking care of them, and my mom that I've taken care of my whole life.
Yeah. Wow. And when
You
you
can
have
really hear her pain, that
Yes.
she's
Yeah.
literally right in the middle of this.
Yes.
and
And
losing a child, and when you have young children in the home, me and my wife didn't have that, but that's got to be very difficult.
and it's hard when you're still trying to take care of others, and you have to be present. You have to be present mentally or physically, and it takes so much energy. But all I can say, just from the little experience I've had, to try and be kind to yourself. Give yourself time. We love deeply, and that pain and that disconnect comes because we love deeply. We find our way, and I hope Louise will find her way, but you can hear the pain. We all know that pain. You feel that the tear would just always be there, and I had to remove myself from people really quickly early on because the tears were there. But I'm okay with the tears. Tears are cleansing, they're healing, they're refreshing. Yes, so my thoughts are with you, Louise. I pray that you can honor your mother and find space for you, and that you will be able to give to others in a very gentle, sincere, genuine way. And I pray that it will get better for you with each day. It will get better for you. You will be stronger, and you can love and remember your mother in a wonderful way.
Thank you, Pamela. Coming up after this break, we'll continue our discussion on surviving after tragedy. Stay with us. Please call in. We'll talk to you right after this.